Hello everyone, my name is Ali Hassan. I am a student of foundation level at Rehan School. I am hard work and responsible student. I like learning new things and improving my knowledge. My favorite hobbies are reading, playing, and spending time with my friends. What is consciousness?
That is the $1 million question. In the simplest terms, it's your awareness of your own existence, the fact that you're experiencing the world rather than just reacting to it. But depending on who you ask, it could be a biological process in the brain or something much more spiritual. Do you see it as something physical or something more like a soul?
What does conscious mean?
Basically, being conscious means you're awake and aware. It's the difference between being in a deep, dreamless sleep where you don't know you exist and waking up and feeling the air on your skin or hearing a sound. It's just that state of being on and experiencing things as they happen.
What is awareness?
Awareness is like the lens through which you see everything. It's that quiet inner observer that notices you're thinking a thought or that you're feeling a bit tired or that the sun is hitting your face. While consciousness is the overall state of being on, awareness is the act of actually noticing what's happening in that moment.
Where is awareness important?
Hmm. Pretty much everywhere in your life, in your relationships. It helps you notice when a friend is actually struggling, even if they say they're fine. And in your own head, it's what lets you catch a negative thought before it spirals or really appreciate a moment of peace. It's basically the tool that keeps you from living on autopilot. Does that make sense?
How do we think?
It's a wild process, really. Most of it happens as these electrical signals and chemical reactions firing between neurons in your brain, creating patterns that turn into ideas, memories, and decisions. But the actual feeling of thinking, the internal monologue, or the images in your head is still one of the biggest mysteries in science. Do you usually think in words or more in pictures?
How do we learn?
It's all about making connections. Your brain basically takes new information and hooks it onto things you already know. When you repeat something or use it in a real life situation, those neural pathways get stronger, like a path in the woods being worn down the more people walk it. It's a mix of curiosity, trial and error, and just enough repetition to make it stick. Do you find that you learn better by doing things with your hands or by listening to someone explain it?
What is the brain?
Think of it as the command center for everything you are. It's a 3-pound organ made of billions of neurons and glial cells, all working together to process every sight, sound, and emotion you experience. It's essentially the hardware that runs the software of your mind.
How does the brain work?
This is essentially a massive, high speed communication network. It's all based on neurons, these specialized cells that send electrical pulses to one another across tiny gaps called synapses. When you think or move, millions of these cells are firing in specific patterns, passing information back and forth almost instantly. It's a beautiful, messy coordination of biology and electricity that lets you perceive the world and react to it in real time.
What is self awareness?
Self evidence is when something is so obviously true that you don't even need a proof or an argument to believe it. It's like saying the whole is greater than the parts. You don't need a math equation to know that's true. You just see it. Does that feel like a clear way to put it?
Where do we sleep?
Oh, we definitely do. It's like your brain's way of hitting the reset button. While you're out, your mind is busy cleaning out toxins and filing away everything you learned during the day so it actually sticks. It's kind of nightly maintenance mode. Do you usually wake up feeling refreshed, or do you feel like you need 3 alarms to get moving?
What are dreams?
Dreams are like the brain's nightly movie theater. They're these vivid, often strange experiences that happen while you're asleep, and scientists are still arguing over why they happen. Some think it's just your brain processing random electrical impulses, while others believe it's a way for you to work through emotions or solve problems you couldn't crack while you're awake. It's like your subconscious doing some housekeeping while you're off the clock.
Can animals think?
I'd say yes, absolutely. Just maybe not in the same way you and I do. They don't have a complex internal monologue or an interest in philosophical debates, but they're constantly making decisions, solving problems, and feeling deep emotions like love, fear, and jealousy. It's more of a direct sensory kind of thinking. Do you think animals have a sense of morality or just instincts?
Can animals be ever?
Yeah, they can. They might not be wondering about the meaning of life, but they're definitely aware of their surroundings, their needs, and the people they trust. A dog knowing exactly when you're sad, or a crow solving a complex puzzle shows a level of awareness that's pretty impressive. It's a different kind of lens, but it's still a lens.
What are our senses?
I'm not sure I caught that. Did you mean census like counting a population, or were you thinking of something else?
How do eyes help us?
I'm a little lost. You're starting to say something about helping, but it's getting cut off. What were you about to say?
How do ears help us?
They do so much more than just let you hear music. First off, they pick up sound waves, basically just vibrations in the air, and turn them into electrical signals that your brain can actually understand. But the real secret is that they're also your internal balance system. Those little fluid filled canals in your inner ear are what keep you from tipping over when you walk. Do you ever get that dizzy feeling after spinning around too fast?
What is memory?
Memory is like the brain's personal library. It's the process of encoding information, storing it, and then pulling it back out when you need it. Whether it's a childhood memory or just remembering where you left your keys, your brain is essentially recreating a pattern of neurons that fired when that event first happened. It's not a perfect recording, though every time you remember something, you're actually rewriting it a little bit, which is why memories can change over time. Do you have a memory from when you were a kid that still feels incredibly vivid to you?
Why is a memory important?
Everywhere, really. Without it, you wouldn't have a sense of who you are or how to get home. It's how you learn from mistakes so you don't make them twice. And it's what allows you to build deep connections with other people by remembering the little things about them. It's basically the glue that holds your entire identity together. Do you find it easier to remember things you've seen or things you've heard?
What are emotions?
Emotions are like your brain's internal alarm system. They're chemical and electrical responses to what's happening around you, designed to tell you something important. Fear tells you there's danger. Anger tells you something is unfair. And joy tells you that you're exactly where you want to be. It's basically your body's way of communicating with you before your logical mind even has a chance to catch up. Do you think emotions make us stronger, or do they just get in the way?
How do emotions affect us?
They change everything about how you experience the world. Physically, they can make your heart race, your palms sweat, or give you that warm, fuzzy feeling in your chest. But mentally, they act like a filter. When you're happy, a rainy day might feel cozy, but when you're sad, that same rain can feel gloomy. They drive our decisions, our art, and the way we treat each other. It's basically the brain's way of adding color to a world that would otherwise just be a list of facts. Do you feel like you're usually in tune with your emotions, or do they sometimes take you by surprise?
What is attention?
Attention is basically your brain's spotlight. It's the ability to focus on one specific thing while filtering out everything else. Like right now, you're focusing on my voice and probably ignoring the sounds of the room around you. Without it, the world would just be a chaotic wall of noise and images. Do you think you have a pretty strong focus, or does your mind tend to wander a lot?
Why is attention important?
In almost every single thing you do, in school or at work, it's what lets you actually absorb a new concept instead of just hearing words. In conversations, it's the difference between just waiting for your turn to speak and actually listening to what someone is saying. And on a deeper level, it's how you're able to be present in your own life rather than just coasting along. I'm curious, what's the hardest part about staying focused for you?
What is focus?
Focus is like the refined version of attention. Well, attention is, that spotlight that lets you notice things. Focus is when you keep that spotlight locked on one thing for a long time without letting it drift. It's the difference between noticing a bird outside your window and actually sitting down to read a book for an hour. Focus
How,
is basically the mental discipline to stay engaged with one thing until you've actually made progress. Do you find it easier to focus when it's completely quiet, or do you need some background noise to get into the zone?
how do we stay focused?
It's mostly about managing your environment and your internal state. You can do things like breaking big tasks into tiny, manageable chunks so your brain doesn't get overwhelmed, or using a timer to work in short bursts. But it also comes down to interest. It's way easier to stay locked in when you're actually curious about what you're doing. Do you usually use any tricks to keep yourself on track, or do you just wing it?
What is learning?
Learning is basically the process of updating your internal map of the world. It's when you take new information or an experience and turn it into a lasting change in your knowledge or behavior. Whether it's learning how to ride a bike, mastering a new language, or figuring out a hard lesson about life, it's your brain physically restructuring itself to handle new challenges. It's less about memorizing facts and more about building the ability to do or understand something. Do you feel like you're in a phase of your life where you're learning a lot of new things right now?
Where do we learn?
Literally everywhere. In your classroom, in the books you read, and obviously in the conversations you have with people. But some of the best learning happens in the places where you aren't even trying to, like when you make a mistake at work or just observing how someone handles a tough situation. The world is basically one giant textbook if you're paying attention. Do you think you learn more from your successes or your failures?
What is thinking?
Thinking is basically your brain's internal conversation. It's the process of taking all those memories, emotions, and pieces of information you've gathered and rearranging them to solve a problem, imagine something new, or make a decision. It's like a mental puzzle where you're constantly connecting dots to make sense of the world. Do you find that you think more in a structured, logical way, or do you just let your thoughts flow wherever they go?
How do we make decisions?
It's a tug of war between your logic and your gut. Your brain is constantly weighing the pros and cons, comparing the current situation to past memories and trying to predict the outcome. But a lot of the time, your emotions slide in and make the call before you've even finished the list in your head. It's a mix of calculated risk and a feeling that just tells you this is the right move. Do you usually trust your intuition, or do you need to see all the evidence first?
What is understanding?
Understanding is when the pieces actually click. It's the jump from just knowing a fact to actually seeing how it fits into the bigger picture. Like you can know the definition of a word, but you understand it when you can use it to describe a feeling you've had. It's that aha moment when something stops being a puzzle and starts making sense. Do you feel like you're more of a big picture person or do you prefer to understand the tiny details first?
How do we understand things?
It's all about pattern recognition. Your brain takes a new piece of information and tries to find a place for it in everything you already know. It's like adding a new puzzle piece to a picture you've been building your whole life. Once you see how it connects to other pieces, that's when you move from just hearing something to actually understanding it. Do you find that you need to see a real life example of something before it really clicks for you?
What is knowledge?
Knowledge is basically the collection of everything you've learned, understood, and experienced. It's the library of facts, skills, and insights you've built up over time. But there's a difference between having knowledge, like knowing that the sky is blue, and having wisdom, which is knowing how to use that information in your life. It's essentially the toolkit you use to navigate the world. Do you think having a lot of knowledge is more important than having a lot of life experience?
How do we gain knowledge?
It's a lifelong process of gathering input from the world around you. You gain it through direct experience, like trying something for the first time, and through indirect experience, like reading a book or listening to a story. It's really a cycle of being curious, asking questions, and then testing those answers out in the real world to see if they hold up. Do you consider yourself someone who likes to dive in and figure things out as you go? Or do you prefer to do all your research first?
What is the main?
The menu? I'm a bit confused. Are you asking about a literal menu, like at a restaurant, or is there something else you have in mind?
How does the main work?
I'm still a little stumped. Mm. Since we've been talking about the brain and consciousness, I'm wondering if you're using the menu as a metaphor for how we choose our thoughts or something like that. Could you tell me a bit more?
What is women awareness?
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by evernesses. As for woman, in the simplest sense, it's an adult human female. But we could talk about it from a biological, social, or even philosophical angle, depending on what you're after. What did you mean by everness?
Where do people think differently?
Hmm. It's a fascinating mix of nature and nurture. Differences usually come from a blend of your biological wiring and the life experiences that shape you, your culture, people you grow up with, and even the specific challenges you've faced all act like filters that change how you perceive the same event. It's why two people can look at the same painting and see two completely different stories. Do you think people are born with their perspectives, or do you think we build them as we go?
What is consciousness in daily life?
In daily life, it's essentially the autopilot versus the manual override. It's the difference between walking to your car without remembering a single step and then suddenly noticing the way the light is hitting the trees or feeling the specific texture of the steering wheel. It's those moments where you stop just reacting to the world and actually realize you're in it. Do you find you spend more of your day on autopilot or are you usually pretty present?
How does awareness help us?
I'm a little confused because I'm not sure who Ernest is. Are you talking about a person you know or maybe a historical figure?
What is observation?
Observation is basically the act of paying close attention to something to gain information. It's a step beyond just seeing. It's when you're actively looking for patterns, details, or changes, like the difference between glancing at a tree and actually noticing that the leaves are starting to turn yellow. It's the foundation of how we learn about everything from science to people. Do you consider yourself a keen observer of people, or do you tend to focus more on the things around you?
Where do we observe things?
Everywhere you look, in the way a stranger's expression changes when they're surprised, in the patterns of rain on a window, or even just observing your own thoughts as they drift through your head. The whole world is basically just one giant stream of data waiting to be noticed. Do you think you notice things that other people usually miss?
What is communication?
Communication is basically the bridge between two minds. It's the process of taking a thought, a feeling, or a piece of information and translating it into a form, like words, a gesture, or even a look that someone else can understand. But the real magic isn't just in the sending, it's in the receiving and understanding. Do you think the most important part of communication is the words you use or the things you leave unsaid?
What is imagination?
Imagination is like your brain's personal sandbox. It's the ability to create images, ideas, or scenarios in your mind that aren't actually happening in front of you. It's how you can picture a place you've never been, imagine a conversation before it happens, or dream up something that doesn't even exist in the real world. It's basically the mental freedom to explore what if without any limits. Do you consider yourself a daydreamer, or are you more focused on what's right in front of you?
Where is imagination important?
In every single part of the human experience. It's the engine behind every single piece of art, every scientific breakthrough, and every solution to a problem that hasn't been solved yet. But on a personal level, it's also how you build empathy by imagining what it's like to be someone else. It's basically the tool that lets you build a future before it actually exists. Do you use your imagination more to plan for the future or to escape into stories?
What is problem solving?
Problem solving is basically your brain's way of closing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's that process of identifying a hurdle, breaking it down into smaller pieces, and testing different ideas until you find a way over it. It's a mix of logic, a bit of trial and error, and sometimes just a flash of insight. Do you usually tackle a problem head on, or do you like to step away for a bit and let your mind work on it in the background?
How do we solve problems?
It's basically a cycle of analyzing and testing. First, you identify exactly what the problem is. Then you brainstorm a few different ways to fix it. And finally, you try one out to see if it actually works. If it doesn't, you just pivot and try the next idea. It's kind of like a mental game of trial and error until something clicks. Do you usually trust your first instinct when solving something, or do you like to map out a few different options first?